The Facebook ad algorithm is something we all try to understand, and just when you think you've figured it out, it changes.
What the hell?
Well, I've got some shocking new test results to share with you in this video that shows that Facebook's ad delivery process is changing, and I'm making a big adjustment to our Facebook ad campaigns as a result. I'm talking here about placements, and because of this change, my recommendation for which placement options you use is actually changing, so make sure you watch this whole video to work out exactly which ones you should be using for your particular scenario. Now, to demonstrate what I'm talking about, I'm in an example ad account. I've created an example campaign, jumped to the ad set level, which is of course where we select our placements, and scroll down to the bottom to this placement section. Now, there are a number of ways in which we can tell that Meta really want us to go with Advantage Plus placements, which is the default option, which is going to include all placement options and give Meta the most flexibility in terms of where they can share your ads. We can tell this because firstly, they've hidden it right at the bottom of the ad set where some advertisers will simply miss it. Secondly, they don't even give a second option alongside it like they used to that's quick and easy to click on. What you need to do instead is select Edit, then select manual placements, and then start to select your various placement options. So they are making it more and more difficult. They're adding friction to prevent advertisers from selecting manual placements and then going and selecting things like, I don't want to advertise on the audience network, or I want to advertise on feeds, not stories and reels, and stuff like that. And just in case that wasn't convincing enough, once you do edit the placements, select manual placements, you'll see that Meta add this recommended part to the Advantage Plus placements to make it really clear it's what you want to use. And if you read this copy here, it will say things like, use Advantage Plus placements to maximize your budget and help show your ads to more people. So they are very much trying to get us to use Advantage Plus placements. And whenever Meta is trying to get us to do something, we have to assess as advertisers, is that because it benefits us as advertisers and therefore we get more results, we stay advertising on the platform, Meta makes more money? Sometimes that's the case, they're good recommendations. Or is it something that Meta wants us to do because it's going to help them make more money over the short run? Now, the reason why Meta want us to use Advantage Plus placements, use all the placement options, is very simply because they have ad inventory to sell. If, for example, we all came in and decided we were only going to advertise on Instagram, all us advertisers did that, well, that would be terrible for Meta because they've got all this ad space, this ad inventory to sell on Facebook that they just simply couldn't sell. If likewise we all decided we were only going to advertise on feeds and we got rid of all the other options like stories and reels and search results and in-stream video and that sort of stuff, again, that's terrible because Meta have this ad inventory to sell in those other placement options and they want to fill it up. That's how they're going to make the most money possible. So this is very much self-serving for Meta, but does it mean it's a bad idea for us as advertisers? There's obviously some logic to being able to reach your prospects as frequently as possible in the different places where they show up. There are lots of people, for example, that use Instagram stories that don't spend much time on their feed, and vice versa. Do you want to miss out on different types of people based on their behavior within app just because you've selected particular placement options? That doesn't sound like a good idea. So for a while now, I've recommended that most of the time you do use Advantage Plus placements, and I'll explain the scenarios where you don't want to use that in a minute. But I think the importance of using Advantage Plus placements has increased. Now, I was recently reviewing some very interesting results in one of our client ad accounts, which really highlights this, and I want to talk you through it. So this was a client that had run ads before they started working with us, and they'd originally started, like most advertisers do, using Advantage Plus placements. And later on, they had seen that using the breakdown data and their specific placement data, in fact, I'll show you quickly how to do that. If I minimize this down, you can see that whenever you're looking at your campaigns, ad sets, etc., you can select here breakdown, and you can do by delivery, and then you can scroll down and select by placement. Okay, now this is an example campaign. It hasn't gone live. It's not going to give us any information, but if you go ahead and do that, you will usually see your cost per result, the number of impressions, etc. by feeds, stories across Facebook, Instagram, all the various placement options, which is really useful. Well, anyway, this client had done that and they had seen that 94% of all their impressions were coming from Facebook feeds, Instagram stories, reels, Facebook stories, and reels, basically those four options, okay? So they decided to turn off the other placement options. What's the point? We're getting almost all of our impressions from those locations, nearly all of our conversions. Let's focus on that. Well, they saw, after they made that change, a 42% increase in their cost per conversion. which is terrible, absolutely not what they wanted at all. And what I think is really interesting there is that it doesn't really make sense, looking at it purely mathematically, that turning off placement options that only contributed a tiny percentage of their overall impressions would have that big an impact on cost per conversion. And I think that the conclusion we have to draw is that Meta simply doesn't want you to do it, and they're going to punish you for taking actions that they don't want you to do. Now, we know that Meta do this with other aspects of Facebook and Instagram advertising. So we know that, for example, if you create highly engaging ad creative, that's something that Meta wants because that keeps their users happy. Users want to interact with things that are engaging, it shows it's interesting, and therefore they reward advertisers with lower CPMs, lower cost per 1,000 impressions, basically cheaper ads. I think they're doing a similar thing now with placements based on this very, very interesting result that we saw in our client account, and we've seen it in some other scenarios as well. They are rewarding advertisers for using Advantage Plus placements. Now, with that said, you might be thinking, okay, we always have to use Advantage Plus placements, right? No, that's not the case. There are scenarios in which you don't want to use Advantage Plus placements, even with Meta really heavily pushing it and rewarding advertisers that do so. I'll explain what those are in a second. Before I do, I want to quickly let you know about our done-for-you Facebook and Instagram advertising services. So my company can create, manage, and optimize your campaigns for you. We can most likely help you improve your results, take that workload off your hands. If you want to find out more, there is a link in the video description below. You can click on that and book a call directly in with one of my team members who'll be happy to explain our service, pricing, if we worked with a business like yours previously. You can find out more. These are, of course, no obligation calls. We do have a 3K per month minimum budget requirement, so please only book a call if you do meet that criteria or you're about to be in that sort of ad spend bracket. But go ahead and book a call if you're interested. Hopefully we get a chance to work together. So when should you not use Advantage Plus placements, even with this new update, this new approach that Meta seems to be taking? If you are not using a conversion-based campaign objective, so if you're using something like traffic, for example, I would still not use Advantage Plus placements. I would narrow it down to the best performing placement options, which are typically feeds, stories, and reels. That's where most people spend most of their time on the Facebook and Instagram apps. And the reason why is because you can get very cheap clicks on, say, the audience network, but they tend to be accidental clicks, they tend to be poor quality clicks, and those people are not likely to go on to convert. Now, you might be thinking, well, why are you running a traffic campaign if you want conversions anyway? The only scenarios in which people should be doing that is if they can't track conversions, and those scenarios are becoming more and more limited. Amazon was always a classic example, but now we do have more capabilities that we can use to track conversions that take place via Amazon. So we don't use traffic campaigns very much at all. If you happen to be using them for whatever reason, I would not use Advantage Plus placements. I would get more specific. Likewise, if you're running other types of non-conversion based campaign objectives, things like awareness or engagement, if you're not sending people to take an action that's meaningful to your business, be very careful where your ads show up. But for all the other scenarios, so for sales campaigns, lead campaigns, conversion campaigns, app install campaigns, we are absolutely going to be using Advantage Plus placements. Really important. And remember that those conversion-based campaign objectives are going to take up, say, 90% of all the campaigns that we run for clients, with probably the remaining 10% when we're running omnipresent content campaigns, which is using either the reach or the awareness objective, depending on what you have in your ad account. So it's not a complete one size fits all, always go with Advantage Plus placements, but I really want to stress the importance of using that if you can, which should be the majority of people watching this video. And if you're interested in 7 more Facebook ad secrets that you can use to gain an edge over your competitors, check out this video where I share the stuff that professionals in this industry know, but most don't talk about, they don't want to share, and they certainly don't want most advertisers to know about.